just have a brief message to share. In life, you're going to meet so many different people, and as much as we are all very, very different in so many ways, we're also very similar, and we share humanity. We are all part of the human race, and for that reason, we should be kinder to each other. And unfortunately, the world is full of hatred and bitterness and people who judge others without really knowing them or stepping in their shoes. That happens to everybody. So, as many of you know, my son has autism. He is 20 years old and he is nonverbal. He has never spoken a word in his entire life. And as a parent, it's a journey you don't expect. It's something that takes you by surprise. When we have children, we think it's our right for them to be healthy and typical. I don't use the word normal because there is no normal. But it's like your dreams are crushed when you start to see that your child is different from all the other children. And you know something is going on. And to have the confirmation that your son has an intellectual disability is very, very debilitating. And it's hard to understand unless you go through it and unless you deal with it every day of your life. It's hard to put yourself in that situation because you don't really understand anything fully until it happens to you. So I was grieving for a long time. There is a lot of grief that goes with a diagnosis like that because it seems like it's the death of what you expected for your child. It's the death of all the hopes and dreams you had for your child, that they're going to go down a more difficult road than other children just because they're different. So it doesn't matter if a child has autism, if a child is gay, if a child has, you know, any kind of issues that society does not consider normal. Your road's going to be more difficult because acceptance is difficult from people in general. So imagine what it's like to live in our shoes. Whenever we go anywhere, you know, we're on display. I mean, 24/7. It doesn't matter where we are. My son looks like any other teenage boy. Actually, he's not a teenager. He's 20, so he's a young man, but he looks like any other young man. It's his behaviors that give him away. His babbling or his, you know, jumping up and down, or he does a lot of things that are not typical for his age. And so people observe, they stare, they're taken aback, they're shocked, they're scared, whatever it is, because it's not something they expect. And so you're always on display wherever you go, and that's not easy. It really does play on your psyche. And one incident specifically, you know, happened you know, recently that I can remember, and we were going into a restaurant for dinner, and you know, just sitting at our table, waiting to order, and my son is very vocal and loud, and he just gets excited in restaurants. He loves to eat. Well, who doesn't? It's his Italian side, but he loves going out. He actually loves to be part of life and to be busy and enjoy himself and live a full, happy life, really. And one of his favorite things is eating out in restaurants. So he gets excited. He's vocal. He shouts. He's, you know, very animated. And, you know, some people just don't understand. And there was someone at the next table who, you know, looked like it was such an inconvenience to have an autistic child or adult beside them, excited to be out, excited about spending time in a restaurant and eating his favorite foods. They just didn't see it like that. All they saw was this disruptive man sitting there, you know, excited, very loud, and they got angry because he was interfering with their meal and their enjoyment of their meal. I get it, but you know, you gotta kind of be a little more empathetic of other people, because what I have to say is this: my son can't help himself. He is who he is, and they are who they are, and no one's going to ask them to change any more than they can ask him to change. And, you know, if you think about it, the inconvenience that they have of being disrupted, as they would think, is for a mere hour of their evening. And He's just a blip on their radar for an hour of their entire lives. But he has to live with this day in and day out, and so do I. And imagine what that's like. So it just makes me angry when people are inconvenienced by him when he has a lifelong condition that he has to manage and live with every single day of his life. And it's very, very difficult. Having said that, though, he is the happiest kid, and he really isn't judgmental of others. He's just being himself without any pretense. He's not, hiding his feelings or, pretending to be someone he's not or trying to keep up with the Joneses. He just lives life purely and simply on the level it's supposed to be lived, without all the other interferences. Because I think as we get older, a lot of us are taught, to not be ourselves, to be cautious, to change into someone we're not to please others. And he's just so open and so free in who he is, unapologetically himself. And I really admire that about him, that he's just loving his life, and he doesn't really care who accepts him or not. He's not even thinking along those lines. It's me who thinks along those lines, so it's definitely a lot more weight for me to carry as his mother, because I worry about all these things that he doesn't worry about. But he just enjoys life. He's happy in his world. Everything's fine. So, it's those people that don't understand, or those people that think that he's disrupting their lives and say something or behave a certain way, that it upsets me. And after a while you have to really tune it out, because if you don't, you're really going to lose your mind. I mean, you can't fight with everybody you see, or anybody who says something or, doesn't seem to respect his condition. A lot of people don't know what it is. I didn't know what it was. I did know what autism was, but I basically became an expert after my son was diagnosed. I learned all I can learn, and to this day, I'm still learning. It's never done. You're constantly educating yourself. Being a parent is a constant experience of learning. It never stops, but especially when your child's different, it is a lot more of a learning experience. So my point is, try to be aware of how your actions impact others, how you treat them, and really see them, because we're often so caught up in ourselves and our own ego or our own little bubble that we don't often notice other people around us, because there may be someone around you that needs your help, someone around you that needs you to listen, someone around you who needs some attention, who needs some kindness, who needs anything. And they often suffer in silence, and they're not seen or heard. And they just continue on that path of silence and loneliness and marginalization, really, because it's so much easier to just keep going and not see them and not do anything and not acknowledge. It's so much easier than to step out of that comfort zone, that little shell of your own fears, and reach out to someone and sometimes ask, are you okay? Do you need help? Could I help? Or, ask them about themselves, engage them in a conversation, show some interest. It really does go a long way. But I think a lot of people are just so busy living their lives and caught up in their own rat race that they don't step outside that box to reach out to other people around them who they don't really see, because they're so caught up in themselves and their own world. Whatever that is, their own kids, their own families, their own jobs, whatever. We're part of a global community. We're part of a local community. We're part of a family. We're part of groups of people. We are not alone in this world. No man is an island. I truly believe that. And the most important connections are those we make with other people. We may actually impact a life in a way we never imagined just by reaching out to someone sometimes the right words, the right time will make a difference in someone's lives. That is what they needed. Imagine how it would have been had you not come along and maybe shared a story with them about your past and said, I did this, I'm not proud of this, I've learned from this, you're not alone. You can inspire someone with your truth. You can actually inspire them by being genuine and vulnerable with who you are without pretending to be something else or pretending to be what society would want you to be. It takes a lot of strength to be who you are in this world, unapologetically who you are, and not to need validation from other people. I mean, it's nice to be liked. It's nice to be, admired or respected, but it's not necessary. What counts is that you respect yourself and you're true to yourself and your life and your purpose, your passion in life, whatever that is. So I think that it's important to try to maybe have more empathy for other people whenever a situation comes up. If someone does something really stupid, maybe you can ask yourself, why did they do that? What's the motivation for the behavior? The behavior has a reason behind it. Maybe they, cut in front of you on the road and you're really angry. It's like, what an idiot, Maybe they didn't get enough sleep. Maybe someone close to them died. Maybe they had a breakup. Maybe they got fired from work. Maybe they have depression. It could be just about anything. So whenever someone is mean or someone does something bad, try to understand there's a reason. Sometimes it's ignorance or just not wanting to know, and just wanting to stay in a little comfortable, shallow box and not step outside of that because it's too scary. So, back to the person and the people in the restaurant, they probably don't understand autism. They never expected to see that. While they were out for dinner, they might have planned a good evening for themselves, and there's a disruption there, and it's more the disruption that bothers them. But I had a word with them, and I explained autism. Sometimes when people are this way, I try not to get angry and judgmental towards them in return. I try to use it as a teaching moment where I can explain what autism is and why my son is this way. And I'm hoping that they take that knowledge with them so that the next time they're in a situation where they see someone like my son, they may react differently. And pay it forward, really, because you can't really change anything if you step back and say nothing. You have to speak up and do it in a very kind and respectful way. And you find that you diffuse people's anger or fear or being upset for whatever reason. It can be diffused with a little understanding and kindness. And, people will appreciate it, I think. So, there are days I just kind of let it slide and I don't say anything because I don't want to battle people every day. Some days I'm not in the mood, and I feel it's not that important, it's a minor incident. But if it's something that I feel I should say something, I will say something. I'm not perfect. I've made so many mistakes in my life. And I've been humbled so many times. I've gone through a lot of pain and suffering, and I've looked at myself in the mirror and I felt shame and disappointment. And because I'm growing as a human being and I have gone through all that, I'm evolving. And I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of others and try to be humble because I see that they are struggling as well. They are suffering as well. They have challenges as well. They may not be the same as mine, but they still have them. Every human does. So instead of getting angry and bitter, I'm really focusing on trying to be kinder to people when I really want to get angry, because we're all struggling in some way. And I think if there is a little more compassion to bridge those differences, it really does make a difference. The problem is that society as a whole doesn't behave that way. I don't see society as a whole as enlightened. I think individuals can be, and I think as individuals we can try to make a difference in our own corner of the world or our own community. But globally, that's a big challenge, because I find when people are in large groups, they tend to get very nasty and judgmental, and they make comments they would never make to your face if they're online. It's crazy, but yeah, I just think you need to always be aware, and to always speak your truth and never really hide who you are, because who you are is inspiring somebody. It's somebody who may have the same battle as you, and to say, hey, I understand, I've been there, and how can I help? You don't feel so alone. So yeah, what I've dealt with is people who pretty much know we're there, but they don't see us. They just keep living their lives and don't reach out, and you just do the best you can on your own with no one there to support you. You may have someone support you here and there, but ultimately, when you're going through something, that battle is yours alone, because you're the one who has to get through it when no one's around, which is most of the time. So let me finish this by saying that I am blessed to have my son. He is amazing. He is the best son in the world. He is full of love. And for some of you who may not know, autistic people are not always demonstrative or affectionate. And my son is. He's very loving, and he's very in tune to me. And I like to believe some of it is because when I was a young mother with a baby, I always showed him love and affection. And it started from there. I believe strongly that children need love and affection, and they need outward expressions of it. And that is the parent's role. Part of their job of teaching is teaching love and affection, and showing that to them and modeling that for the kids so that they continue to show that to others in their lives. It is a very important job of parents, is to show love and affection and to teach how to love. So that's what I've always done, and he is an incredibly loving young man now, and I am proud of him. He's struggled with so much, and he's just so adjusted, and not to say he doesn't have his bad days, but he's just so wonderful. He enjoys his life. He's got all he needs. So when you're looking at him next time and you're somebody in public, you feel sorry for him, don't. He's happy. If you feel that he's a disruption, don't. Imagine what life's like for him to live like that. He has a lot of struggles, and he makes it through with a smile. He always ends up smiling no matter what happens. He lands on his feet. So you think something's really hard for you, you think that you're the worst off in the world, then think again, because there's always someone else who's worse off. Count your blessings. Look at all the good things in your life. I think we all have a tendency to be negative and to harp on the negative and not see the blessings, because they're what matter. We have a limited time here, and it's a shame to waste it away worrying or, being scared or, just not appreciating them when they're in front of you, because one day you'll wish they were there. So try and enjoy the simple things. Try and extend that love to others, and the ones that don't give it back, then just steer clear. You don't have to be friends with people who have no kindness towards you or any respect towards you. Part of your journey in that case is just leaving those people behind for your own good. So appreciate the people that appreciate you, and be who you are, and don't be afraid to be vulnerable. If people judge you, at the end of the day, that says more about who they are than who you are. So take care, all. Thanks for listening.